Hola fea, soy yo, Bus to Rhymes, y bienvenido a Hot or Rats. Hoy es muy especial, porque we have several things on the docket. We finally got a cast announcement and premiere date for Drag Race Mexico, June 22nd, mark your calendars, and their Meet the Queens videos and promo shots are fantastico. So we'll be doing a little hot or rot speed round through each queen's promo shot, and then we'll be taking a look at some drama that's been bubbling up online over the past week involving Baby from Drag Race UK, who's got some fresh insight and commentary on quitting Drag Race, and diving into everything Yvie Oddly said on Twitter when she called out the, quote, calculating capitalist culture thieves world of wonder. Primero, vamos a Mexico. So I'm predicting this season is going to be great for several reasons. Firstly, the Mexican drag scene is huge, rich in culture, and incredibly creative. Spanish is spoken all over the world, and Mexico itself has a population of like 130 million people, which I think will make it the second most populous country to have a Drag Race franchise. And drag competition shows like La Matraka have essentially already tested the market there. Drag Race Mexico is not only needed, but long overdue. And by the way, I want to give an extra shout out to the La Matraka show, which you can actually watch here on YouTube. I've linked to them in the description of my video. Plus, the producers are bringing in fan favorites to host, like Valentina from season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race and All Stars 4. I like to keep it on, please. And Lolita Banana from Drag Race France, who's actually born in Mexico, but now resides in Paris. And no, neither of these queens have a crown from their respective franchises, which I think has been a point of contention among some queens that have won crowns from the franchise, like apparently Giselle Lullaby, who seemed to be throwing some shade towards Valentina at a recent Roscoe's viewing party.
Well, who are you avoiding at this drag con?
There's one of the hosts of Mexico. I'm really happy she left. And it's not Lolita Banana. Hi, Lolita, I love you.
But this is also nothing new. Brooklyn Heights hosts Canada, and Nikki Doll hosts Drag Race France, neither of which have crowns. And technically, I guess RuPaul herself doesn't even have a crown from the Drag Race franchise. But how deep does the conspiracy go? On a real note though, I think it's obvious that having a hosting ability has nothing to do with your ability to perform well on Drag Race, and picking the right queen to judge or host a new spinoff is more important than just pulling a random winner. And in the words of Valentina herself in her Meet the Hosts interview, having a crown is not as important as having a career and winning people's hearts. And now on to our queens. Promo theme is red for filth. Alaska's impact all these years later. Wow. First up, Argennis, who's from Juarez, Chihuahua, where she says there's so many drag queens, they're like cockroaches. And this queen describes herself in several different ways as a bitch, a diva, a cocky queen who I'm guessing is not afraid to get into a little bit of drama and stir some pots. She's also very confident in her lip sync skills and adaptability in drag. Side note, the confidence in these queens of this cast in general is through the roof. This competition is gonna be fierce. Just look at the material. Florals for spring and summer, groundbreaking. She's got roses, and I think those are called chrysanthemums, in her hair, and then some beautifully matching flowered embroidery down one side of her bodice, and the other is completely beaded. I love that asymmetrical moment happening there. I like the feathers coming off the gloves, and I think that train is hitting the ground at just the right length. This is a really fun look that has a lot of personality and has a lot going on, but not too much that you get overwhelmed. This look is hot. And next up, Cristian Peralta, who is from Guadalajara. And she's a queen who describes herself as somebody who can do it all and is very elegant, passionate, comedic, dramatic, competitive, composed, and the list goes on. She can do it all. Or so she says. In general, this queen's interview gave me a very professional, composed vibe. Like she's a pro on the scene who has been there, done there, seen it all, done it all, and is ready to serve. And in her look, I think she absolutely does. What is it RuPaul always says? You're born naked and the rest is sleeves. This feels very opera house and theatrical, like she's about to burst into song. And I'm really enjoying the crystallized theme she has going on with the beads running through the hair, matching all that beautiful silver applique on this red dress. My only critique on this look is, for me, there's just a little too much going on in this area, which I do think actually looks good on camera when she's sitting right there giving the interview, but when you get that wider shot, it looks just like too much. It pulls too much focus compared to like the bottom half of the look, which is more plain in comparison. But I would give this look a hot. And next up, Varo, who's also from Guadalajara, and she describes herself as una zorita, a new word to my Spanish vocabulary. It means something she was actually pretty serious about, even at one point during the interview, saying that she has had relations with more than half the cast. You better work, bitch. Anywho, Varo has a really cute, fun, flirty personality, and I think a really good modern sense of style. Her look is giving very gender flexible. Peep those gorgeous chaps with the jock in the middle there. And I love the giant sombrero that she's got in this look, and I think that the stitching detail on that is really cool and how it matches in other parts of the look. It feels really cohesive and fresh. My one critique here, I think she probably could have done without the $ necklace. I think it just kind of cheapens a really cool look. But yeah, this look is hot. And next we have Lady Kero from Oaxaca, and she describes herself as the trusted friend, the bedside nurse, the loving auntie of drag. And honestly, I love that it seems she'll be a good counterbalance to a lot of these really hot, fiery personalities, but I'm also concerned she could get eaten alive in that workroom. And her look is really put together, refined, and has a point of view. Although she's playing with the idea of Dia de los Muertos and like candy skulls, I think, that she's placed throughout this look with the flowers, and further lean into that theme with the rib cage on the front part of the dress there that she's added pearls on to give some iridescence. The only thing I change here is maybe the proportion of the hat she's wearing. It just feels a little off scale with the rest of her silhouette that she's got going on and this big bold look, but I think it's really hot. And next up we've got Margaret from Mexico City. And she describes herself as a magical, quirky queen who does punk and apolitical drag. And she also explained in her Meet the Queens video, by the way, that her name, Margaret is basically a joke on having a really simple drag name. Meaning that's it. Kind of like how Jan is named Jan. And personality-wise, I think she's definitely more on the zany, creative side of this cast, and I think will approach things differently from some of the more seasoned pros or severe up in here type of queens in this cast. But being more creative could also be a thorn in her side. Her look seems to have, I think, a little too much going on. She's got these really pretty traditional skirt ruffles, which are juxtaposed next to these like thorny, bedazzled gloves, which is next to this tulle accessorized bodice, and the top is like pigtails with super crazy drag makeup, and it's just a lot, I think, to process all in one package. Plus I think that shoe sticking out in the bottom being so prominent really seals the deal on a for this look for me. And next up we've got Matraka, who is from Purísima del Rincón, Guanajuato. And she describes her drag as colorful, artistic, and folkloric, saying she tries to take inspiration from simple objects in everyday life in her drag. We found the Cerebral Queen, who by the way was, I think, the first one in this Meet the Queens segment to say that Sasha Velour inspired her to do drag. The first of like over half of them. Sasha Velour, I did not expect to be such a big name in these queens inspirations. It just surprised me because she was like one of the only names that came up next to RuPaul. And this queen is not only smart in how she approaches her drag, but very fashionable. I love how simple this look is, but also extreme. All those beautiful ruffles and the different shapes and silhouettes on like each part of her body, and the beautiful way she has accentuated the red theme with all those colors coming down one side. It's a gorgeous, fashionable, dancey look. Plus, I love the little campy detail of the tiny sombrero on her head. This look is hot. And next up, Miss Vallarta de Puerto Vallarta. She describes her drag as cartoonish and colorful. I mean, she is here literally painted pink, a testament to her literally saying in the interview that when she commits to a look, she commits to a look. And this look is very much giving that classic burlesque nightgown fantasy, but make it spicy with some extra peppers. Peppers for earrings dangling along her waist and even on the front part of her chest. And this look overall, I like, and I think says a lot about her over-the-top personality, but the one thing that kind of caught me off guard was the skin tone illusion that's happening on the chest, being that red color next to the bodysuit that's pink, felt kind of off. Like it could be the lighting here, but it's kind of giving two different skin tone illusions right next to each other, which is just a little strange, but I do love a good hot pepper. So I'm gonna give this look a hot. And next up, Pixie from Mexico City, the lady in black and white, as she calls herself. And she, about her drag, says that she takes fashion very seriously and loves the Baroque style. And in true drag queen fashion, she tells us what she invented in drag. And for her, that was white painted faces. Everyone else copied her. I invented that. Making YouTube videos. I invented that. Alaska again, she's all over this video. I love when drag queens invent things. And concerning her look, the way she has interpreted and incorporated red throughout her look is as a strawberry. So beautifully done too, with all those crystals coming down, really, girl, making her look juicy and ripe. And just like, wow, this is an incredibly detailed look. And I love everything about it. Like, this is a perfect example of how to take a ton of different references and concepts and ideas and put them into one cohesive look in a way that's not overwhelming. Girl, she's got rosebuds on her elbows, the Mexico flag colors trimmed along parts of the outfit, and I think the immaculate heart on the center of her chest. Plus, we can't ignore the giant headpiece. I mean, how could you? Girl, she is doing drag, honey. This look is phenomenally hot. Next up is Voce, who is also from Mexico City, who describes herself as a glamorous, talented, sensual, and sassy queen. She also says her drag is a tribute to women and glamour and has spent many years training in the performing arts. And she can not only sing, dance, and act, but read tarot. A quadruple threat. And girl, these queens love a headpiece. She has literally an entire cactus on her head. I love that. That's drag. A cactus on your head. Why the hell not? This is another gorgeous look. There are sequins and sparkles and flowers all over this look, with some really gorgeous tulle in the back, having a great silhouette, plus more embroidered florals, which is kind of making me wonder how many of these queens use the same designer for their outfits, or if maybe, because they're all so good, did they have Drag Race help them out with putting some of these together? Conspiracy theories with Bussy Queen. I don't really have any complaints here, and I think this look is hot. And next up, Serena Morena, who's from Aguascalientes, a place where she says the drag scene is actually just getting started. But I'm not sure if that means she's also new to the art, or maybe if she's like a veteran in her community. But she describes herself as a sensual comedy queen with a silhouette that's always on point. And so she gives lots of 80s, 90s, and 2000s references. She's great on camera. She's got a really electric personality, and girl, I don't think she blinked once in that interview. Those eyes, gorgeous and open. They are open, girl, she's awake. And concerning the look, the mug, the hair, the head wrap, really all gorgeous. I mean, here up on camera, she's killing it. But when we zoom out, I think this look is a little simple for the overall opulence in this cast of queens. Like, I really actually enjoy the shoulder cross cape moment that she's got going on, but then something is a little bit off with the sequin cups on the side of that. And I think the fringe in the waist area is just like not enough fringe. We want more fringe, like maybe additionally in other parts of the look to really complete that fantasy. And like, is the look bad? No, not at all. I just want a little more. So make this like a soft rock. Y finalmente, Vermelha Noir. I hope I did her R rolling justice there. Girl, she rolled those R's. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Rollin' on the river. And she's from Querétaro and describes herself as the restaurant of the season because she's serving and serving and serving. And she describes herself not only as a restaurant, but also a maximalist and timeless entity. Honestly, I think is appropriate for her look. She's giving me like 1800s Baroque vampire meets Florence Welch meets very religious queen chess piece. It's really quite a look. This is basically like the gay pope, which I hope isn't sacrilegious to say, but that's what she's serving, and I love it. Like, that crown itself is wild. It looks like it's made of wax. And that intricately made lace that's all pearled and looking all beautiful inside of that cape is jaw-dropping, absolutely hot. And those are our 11 queens from Drag Race Mexico. Personally, I think the season looks really exciting. Can't wait to tune in and brush up on my Spanish. And maybe I'll even review the season. Let me know if y'all would like some hotter rots of the episodes when it starts. And I'll tell y'all which look got my hottest hot at the end of the video, but let's go ahead and talk about the drama from this past week. So first up, and more recently, we've got Baby from Drag Race UK, who, if you'll remember, did quit mid-season to focus on her mental health. And she on Twitter had some choice words for Drag Race and its production team. This is what she said. LOL, I wonder why girls are more frequently self-eliminating from Drag Race. It's almost as if people don't want to be psychologically abused for the sake of entertainment. Later adding, it's so funny because one of the catchphrases is everybody say love. And while on set, I saw some of the most ethically and morally bankrupt things I'd seen my entire life. You guys have no idea what kind of show you're really supporting, and I'm tired of lying about it. Finally ending with this tweet. If your anxiety's that bad, you should really think about if you want to be here or not. Yeah, I think I need to go home. Eye emoji. And there, because each part is in quotes, I'm thinking this must have been a conversation that she had with a production team member. Again, I'm just assuming, just presumpting. She didn't say for sure. Bussy Queens Conspiracy Presumption Corner. And, Baby brings up some really great points here. There's been a lot of queens in recent Drag Race history who have self-eliminated. Baby herself, of course, Isis Couture from UK vs. The World, Heidi in Closet just this week on All Stars 8, Ginny Lemon from season, was that 2 of Drag Race UK? And then, back in the day, of course, Adora Delano from All Stars 2. And I think it's a really confusing thing for fans when queens self-eliminate from the show, but at the end of the day, all we can really do is respect their decisions. We have no idea what is going on behind the scenes there and how their mental health is being impacted by those alleged crazy filming schedules. Alleged. And maybe didn't share specifically what morally bankrupt things she was talking about seeing, but I'd personally describe Drag Race UK having no prize money at all and very little daily pay for being there as pretty bad. And now on to Yvie Oddly, who dropped this bombshell of a Twitter thread in the last week of May. Catching up on All Stars 8, and I have 2 thoughts. 1, these queens are remarkable. 2, the producers are often the greediest, most calculating, capitalist culture thieves. Sharp turn there. They F with real people's lives, career opportunities, and health. They drive themselves home in their luxury cars when their contestants are sleep deprived, depressed, and drastically underpaid for their contributions to the cultural phenomenon. They then tell themselves they're good people for showcasing queer content and creating opportunities for us while ignoring the irreparable damage they cause and creating a chokehold monopoly on how drag artists can succeed. And referencing that chokehold, she tweeted this out: ask any of the drag kings who've never been cast, or the trans contestants who were barred from being themselves until a few years ago when they realized how lucrative the representation was in the culture wars. And to that she added, let me be clear, I am so thankful for Drag Race. That show changed my life long before I was ever part of its fiber, but I'm hopeful for a future where queer people have opportunities to flourish outside of a fake competition to make a few rich old gays richer. P.S. They took over a year to pay me my winnings because they conveniently kept forgetting they owed me 100K. And then Pop Crave, a Twitter account that tweets out like pop culture news, tweeted out this thread, which Yvie Oddly added onto, writing, my final notes on the subject. 1. Jada had hers months before I got mine's, but it's not all about the money. 2. Yes, I chose to go back for the same reason I choose to tour, for you, to share more of my art and heart on the biggest and sadly often the only platform drag fans care about. If I never got cast, I'd still be doing drag because I love it. Tell you what, I'll admit, I was foolish to return when my gigs aren't heavily populated by people who waited to see a random Rue girl for their first drag show. Once we stop asking local stars if and when they're going on Drag Race, when people stan us before we get a seal of approval. So yes, I milked the system. No, I don't regret it. But yes, I want to see a brighter future for our entire community. One that isn't solely controlled by the kinds of people who would preach, we're all born naked and the rest is drag, before condemning someone for their quote boy body in 2023, all while cashing in on their catchphrases and trauma. And finally, she ended with this, which was a reply to a Twitter user who wrote, there won't be a new system until someone like you creates it. Every drag artist I've ever met in and out of the franchise is trying to do exactly that. Go buy a ticket to my show so I don't have to go back for All Stars 38 Blacklisted Broke Bitches edition. And wow, that was a lot. And all that, by the way, remember, is coming from somebody who was on All Star 7, the all-winner season, and won her original season. It's a lot. But none of this is really new information. Queens from the franchises have been saying stuff like this for years and years. And literally from all the franchises. I mean, just look at the tweets from Baby, right? But as she points out, Drag Race has also done a lot of good, not only for the queens that have been on the show, but also the entire queer community. I mean, RuPaul and the other producers found a way to put drag queens on every television and computer in the world. Something that's never been done before. And that overall, I would argue, has been a huge net positive for the queer community because representation matters. But because Drag Race is such a center point in the culture, they are also directly responsible for creating and setting trends and also selling what drag is and isn't to their audiences. And they have a responsibility to do right by the art form. And hopefully, if enough queens from the franchise continue to speak out about their experiences and what they perceive could be done better in terms of production and the show's control over drag, if you will, then I think things will change for the better. Some of the issues though that she and many other queens have talked about though, like pay while being on the show and crazy filming schedules, are actually problems with Hollywood that go bigger than just RuPaul's Drag Race and the realm of reality TV. Because basically reality TV actors aren't protected in the way that actors in sitcoms or movies are. They're all a part of SAG, which is an actors union that demands certain pay, rights, working conditions, etc. for their members. And every actor has to be a member. Reality TV though, it's the Wild West. There is no union for them, and reality TV is a really unique thing because they are in a way casting actors, but they're also casting real people, right? Which is kind of how they get away with what they do. And a lot of the people that go on reality TV shows don't have a career in media, so they're willing to take less because less is better than nothing. Emmy-winning shows worth millions and millions of dollars like RuPaul's Drag Race obviously have no reason to have their contestants complaining about such things. And concerning all that, I would actually love to hear your thoughts and opinions about what you think maybe could be done better for the franchise or really reality TV contestants in general in the comments below. And concerning my hottest from Drag Race Mexico, I'm gonna give it to Pixie. And I also asked my patrons over on patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my patron family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos, access to exclusive videos like reactions, and access to the Buzz Queen Discord server. And you can join my Patreon by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. And they voted for Vermelha Noir. And finally, I want to give an extra special shout out to Little Mandog and Blackout Carlos, who've just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Ashley Brungard, Daniel Sandez, Dorothy Hall, Felicia, Frankie, Jeffrey Steenberg, Lizette, Matthew Burns, Matto, Panda Kitty, Sailor, Sharkies, Stephen Topher, Tyler Hendricks MD, Billy, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier over at patreon.com. See you later. Love ya. Bye.